want to be written. I know it sounds crazy, but many fiction writers work like that. And it's really interesting when you start talking to them about their writing process and about how real the characters become to them. They don't look like actors or actresses or anybody that you've ever seen. They look like themselves. And the dialogue, they'll talk about that the character will give them the dialogue, and that the character won't say anything that character wouldn't say, something that's not consistent with their moral values or however the character operates. It's just really interesting to talk to somebody who has that real creative brain, because it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's, with me, this whole story was in my head from the beginning.
Exactly.
I mean, and it was all there, and it was just a matter of putting it on paper. And so that's kind of the way it was with me. The characters just kind of appeared and flowed, and the story was told before I even wrote it. It was just a matter of transferring it from my computer brain to my paper or my computer, and it was all like you said. It was, everybody was already in place, and it was just a matter of writing it down.
Yeah, it's really
and
interesting.
I think I could do that with another story too if I wanted to. It's kind of like, you go on vacation and you go to a place that's really great, and you say, "Man, that was the coolest vacation I've ever had." And then you go back and you go again to the same place, and it's not near as fun.
Right. Right.
And I think that's what I have in my mind, is if I write another book, it just won't be near as fun as writing the first one. So I don't think I want to do another one. But if I came up with a really good story, I could do it. But I'm getting a little long in the tooth for that. I'm 63, so I don't see myself writing any more books unless I really run out of things to do.
Who knows? If a story comes knocking on your brain, then you'll do that. Let's tell our listeners.
If I get one that's just too much fun.
Let's tell our listeners where they can get the book, because I know that we have attracted their attention and attracted their interest. Now, it's on Amazon, and I always...
It is.
Yeah, it is. It's on Amazon, and I wonder always if there's someone that listens who hasn't ever done anything with Amazon. So I'll always take just the second or two that it takes to say to the person. All you have to do is put www.amazon.com in your search feature on the top of your computer. Click on it, and you'll be right there on the Amazon homepage, which the first time you go there, I think it looks a little intimidating, and you go, what am I doing here? Look at all this stuff. If you'll just look for a big, long, semi-rectangular search box and type in the title of the book, which is Verdict, VERDICT, Justice, JUSTICE, by Brian, BRIAN, Toung, TOUNG. If you just type that in, click on it, the book will come right up. And if you look in the upper right-hand corner, when you look at the cover, there are two words that are important for you. It says, "Look inside." If you just click on those two words, the book electronically opens, and there's a terrific excerpt that will reach out, grab you, and pull you right into the story. You can also buy the book right there on that page. Is there anything else you want to say to them about being able to buy the book, Brian?
Well, the book has, it was published by Life Rich Publishing, which is a division of Reader's Digest, and you can the book has its own website. It's www.verdictjustice.com. And you can buy it there, but the publisher's prices are actually higher than Amazon's. And if you go to Amazon right now to Verdict Justice by Brian Toung, I'm looking at that on my computer screen, and you can buy the hardcover for $12.99 and the paperback by $16.99, which is reverse of the way it should be. Normally the hardcover is more, but in this case, apparently it's been on the market for about 6 months, and they've dropped the price, and so you can get the hardcover for $12.99, and I recommend the hardcover because it has more pictures. It's got a dust cover that has pictures on the inside and the outside. So it's got a picture of me and my dog. One of the one of the characters in the book is my dog, and she's an Australian Shepherd, and she plays a pretty interesting part. She likes to chase fish. So
I love it.
And her name is Steve. So
her name is Steve.
Her name is Steve. Yes. And
I know there's a story there, Brian. I know there's a story there.
There is. You know, I have a good friend who's a judge down in Key West, and he read the book, and he called and told me, I love the book, and I especially love the fact that your dog's name is Steve, because I have a female cat named Ed.
You guys are crazy.
I thought that was good.
I think so, too. Well, you also, we can tell people where to find you on social media. Let's talk about your website.
Well, I've got three, actually. There's www.verdictjustice.com. That's the book's website. And then, you know, my law firm I have is www.briantoung.com. And then I also do some social media work on the internet with, and I have a website called www.boomerlife.net. Because I'm a baby boomer, and so I help people promote their health and wealth and general stuff for us old farts on boomerlife.net. And my kids get a big kick out of that. But we're doing some stuff with the internet with Instagram. It's called, I think it's My Boomer Life, and then I've got a YouTube channel called Boomer Life, and I've got Twitter account and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to keep my mind active here. You know, my idea of a relaxing evening is I have two 65-inch screen TVs side by side, and I watch two televisions and read a book at the same time, and that's how I relax. So,
wow,
I'm a multitasker.
Apparently, and you're also a blogger. Weren't you telling me that you had a couple of blogs?
I do. I do blog work at boomerlife.net. That's my blog site, and then also on my law firm site, I do some blogging on that. You know, and I'm also a pilot and a flight instructor, and I teach at Embry-Riddle, and I've got 350 skydives, and I try to stay busy.
A Renaissance man indeed. See, I was right. So
there you go.
I always like to give an author the opportunity to have the last word about their book. So when the listener becomes a reader and they do buy one of those wonderful copies from Amazon that's on sale, and they read the book from cover to cover, literally, they may choose the electronic version, but if they choose the hardcover, they read it from cover to cover, they close that back cover for the very last time. What do you want them to take away? Just the fact that this was a really good, interesting story, a great read, a way to escape? Or is there something else that you want them to leave with?
Yeah, there's, you know, the book is a fun story about, you know, small time practice of law, and it's very interesting. But then at the end, I have a part 2 at the back, which is kind of a mystery, and it diverges from the path of the normal type book, and it has some unusual things happen to the lawyer, and it involves some other worldly things, and I put an author's note, and I'll read that to you because it's probably not in the first printing of the book. And so people that read the book and they read the part 2, the aftermath, they might not understand, you know, where that's coming from. And so that part 2 is the author's attempt to close the story with a final chapter intended to relate his concern to his readers that perhaps we humans are overpopulating, overheating, overusing, and or overstressing this beautiful earth upon which we all ride. And the hope is to make us all more mindful of our carbon footprint, maybe flush the toilet less, use less disposable plastic, less fossil fuel, have less kids, etc. Every little bit counts. As the famous scientist Stephen Hawking once said, We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our greed and stupidity. We cannot remain looking inwards at ourselves on a small and increasingly polluted and overcrowded planet. The story itself is based upon real cases handled by the author and real people he has worked with over 38 plus years in practice, and all the names have been changed to protect client identities. Thank you for reading my novel, and if you enjoyed it, give us a review. And that's kind of how I ended, put an author's note at the end to explain the afterword in the last chapter. So the book is about to make people enjoy it, but it's also, at the end, it's got a little section there to make you think. So it gets a little heavy at the end, but it's hopefully it's a positive thing.
Brian, I am so glad that we had the opportunity to chat. This has been seriously delightful. I have enjoyed talking with you so much, and I hope that our listeners will pick up a copy of Verdict Justice. It's so interesting, and they'll have such a good read, and I love it that you have given such a positive, thought-provoking is probably a better way to say it, message, because the world is so crazy right now, and there are so many things happening. You've provided us with a story that's an escape, and yet at the same time you've brought us back to reality. So thank you so very much for being my guest here on Books on Air.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure, and have a great day, and stay away from the COVID.
No kidding. Remember.
You got that right.
Oh, no kidding. Stay away from that stuff. Remember that you can find Brian's book, Verdict Justice, on Amazon, and his last name is spelled Toung. You've been listening to the Books on Air podcast, brought to you on webtalkradio.net. You can also hear this podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Suzanne Harris, and I hope that you'll join me for the next Books on Air podcast, because remember, you never know who's going to be here, and you really never know what we're going to talk about. Thank you so much for listening.